Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Is this thing on? It is. Yes, sir. Welcome back. We are back with another video. I am your boy, Dynastyers Capers. Go ahead and do me a favor before I get started. Follow me on Twitch. Follow your boy on Twitch at Kung Fu Cape TTV, or drop me a follow on the social medias at Dynastyers Capers. That is IG and Twitter, respectfully. Also, do me a favor and drop the Dynastyers podcast YouTube page a sub. We are up to 208 subs now. We are making that push for 300. Thank you guys for helping us get to that 200 subscriber goal. Have not forgot about y'all. A giveaway is coming soon. To get the information on that giveaway, drop the Dynastyers podcast a follow on Instagram. That's where we put all that information at. You guys don't want to miss it. Last but definitely not least, please give one of our partners a follow, the Capers Cares Foundation. They recently took a bunch of little boys and girls to see The Little Mermaid in the Raleigh-Durham University area, man. So please tap in with them. They are doing big things in the city, in the state of North Carolina. So make sure you tap in on all of those platforms. Now that all the positivity's out the way, man, it's time to be somber for a little bit, man. Because a few days ago, 2 days ago to be exact, my Boston Celtics were dismantled, dismembered, demolished by the 8-seeded Miami Heat. Yes, the same Miami Heat team that almost missed the playoffs entirely had to run through the play-in, and now look at them, they're in the finals. Now, this has truly been a Cinderella run for Jimmy Buckets and company, and salute to them, more power to them. But I want to focus on my squad for this video because that was a disappointing end to a season that looked like it had a lot of potential. So in this video, man, I'm just going to talk about the regular season, the playoff run we had, and what faces us heading into an uncertain offseason. So let's get to it. Regular season, man. Our regular season record was pretty solid, if I do say so myself. 57-25. I was pleasantly satisfied with what I saw from the regular season, man. It's a long season, so I do expect ups and downs. We did have a few questionable losses, but we did have a lot of tremendous victories. So I was pretty pleased with how our regular season went. You know, Jason Tatum, first team All-NBA from his regular season performance. Jaylen Brown, second team All-NBA from his regular season performance. Derek White was all defensive team. Malcolm Brogdon was our sixth man of the year. Both of them were all-stars, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Joe Mazzulla showed that he was able to take the reins as a rookie head coach and lead us to be competing for that 1 seed. Pretty much all year we were competing with Milwaukee for that 1 seed, man, and they ended up getting us by a game before the playoffs. Jason Tatum finished the regular season with averages of 30 points a game, about 9 rebounds, 4.5 assists. Jaylen Brown was about 27 a game, 7 boards, 3.5 assists. Marcus Smart, our starting point guard, who led us in assists this year, 11.5, 6 assists a game. Derek White, 12 points, 4 boards, 4 assists. Malcolm Brogdon off the bench, 15, 4 and 4, man. He was a major pickup. Like I said, man, I had no qualms with this regular season. We played well, and we were competing with Philly, with Milwaukee for that 1 seed pretty much all year. It was a stretch when Jason Tatum was competing for the MVP. So you can't argue with how our regular season went, man. I literally have nothing negative that I can say about the regular season. Now, the negativity for my Boston Celtics comes in when I look at our playoff run, because this was just such a rocky playoff run for us, and I should have known that it was going to be rocky when the Atlanta Hawks took us to 6 games. I'm not one to poo-poo on Trae Young. I think Trae Young's a tremendous talent. I think he's a tremendous player, but we had the 2 best players in that series every time stepping on the floor, and they still took us to 6 games. The semifinals between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics was a 7-game series. It was a battle. I also should have known that there was potential for disappointment in that series, as we lost game 1 with no Joel Embiid and we allowed James Harden to go out and get 40 on us. Most of our great defenders are either wings or guard players, and no one could stop James Harden. James Harden did that. He also had another good game in this series, but pretty much all year in that entire series, James Harden looked like an old James Harden, not the old James Harden. And that was the concern with me. And of course, as you all know, we ended up losing to the Miami Heat in Eastern Conference Finals 4-3. There were not all negatives in the playoff run, but the negatives definitely outweighed the positives, especially considering how our superstar tandem played. Jason Tatum's averages fell to 27. He was leading us in rebounds and assists, though, so I will tip my hat to that because he showed that he's able to be a primary playmaker on our team. Averages of 27, 10.5, and 5 boards, a steal and a block a game. Those numbers on the surface are pretty elite. I'll give him that. Shooting percentage was down, man. Jaylen Brown, 22 points a game, 5.5 boards, 3.5 assists through the playoffs as a whole was, again, a pretty good stat line. But when you look at how he fared in that Miami Heat series, when we needed him most, man, he shot below 40%, shot below 20% from 3, below 70% from the line. He turned the ball over too many turnovers, man. And the turnover issue is what plagued us last year in the finals against the Warriors. Now, I really thought they would have corrected that issue, allowed us to grow as a team, because that's what kept us back last year. But unfortunately, that same issue plagued itself again. That's why we're sitting home. And see, a couple of the notes I wrote, man, we lost focus a lot in the playoffs. A lot. Instead of being focused on the task at hand, which is winning games, they're getting in spouts with the refs. It didn't make sense to me. We were too reliant on the three-pointer. Extremely too reliant on the three-pointer. Considering that we only really have about 3.5 good to great three-point shooters. I wouldn't consider Jason Tatum a great three-point shooter. I would consider him a good three-point shooter, but he's a great scorer of the basketball. Shooting about 35% from 3, I don't consider that being great. Not in this day and age of NBA. Malcolm Brogdon has shown that he's a great three-point shooter. Previous seasons, he's had 50, 40, 90 seasons. That's great. 38+% is a great three-point shooter for me. Jaylen Brown, again, another good three-point shooter, a great scorer of the basketball. You can't not be a great scorer of the basketball on average 27 points a game in the regular season of the NBA. That's greatness as a scorer. So I would consider them both great scorers, good three-point shooters. Derek White's a pretty good three-point shooter. Al Horford's he's an above average three-point shooter, a good three-point shooter. Marcus Smart's above average. We just relied too much on the three-pointer. That's the point I'm getting to. Our half-court offense lacked a lot against set defenses. That is the reason why we struggled against Philly. We struggled against Philly, who's a pretty good defensive team. Joel Embiid's an all-defensive team guy. PJ Tucker's a good defender. They have guys that can get after it defensively. That is the reason why we struggled. When we're going against a set defense, we had a hard time scoring. It's just a lot of iso ball, a lot of one pass, stop, hold, dribble. Yes, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are all-star guys, and they should have the ability to go iso sometimes. But why not get sets? The best player in the NBA right now, Nikola Jokic, is his offense, the Denver Nuggets offense is based off of sets, based off of pistol action. It doesn't have to be set plays. Just give me a set. Don't have it be 5 out, pass, cut, pass, ISO. Give us a set, man. Let's get the ball moving. And that's one of the things that I'm going to tackle in the offseason section of this video that I feel like we really need to target this offseason. We need to get a better playmaker. And last but not least, Stop complaining to the referees. Man, the playoffs are a different animal, guys. The playoffs are a different animal. When you're in the playoffs, you're not going to get tic-tac calls. I know you're first team All-NBA. I know you're second team All-NBA. You have to play through contact. You have to get stronger. You have to get in the weight room. You have to work on your handle against tough defense. I mean, and this is just me watching from a fan perspective, a guy that used to play the game, but from a fan perspective, you have to know when it's time to cut it up. It's just like when you're playing pickup basketball, a game to 12, that 11th point, or when you're playing 21 with your homies, that 19th point defense ramps up. That's essentially what it is in the NBA playoffs. Defense ramps up. You're not going to get those tic-tac calls. You have to play through contact sometimes. So that's pretty much what I saw in the playoffs, man. We have to work on our half-court offense a lot better. We have to stop being so reliant on the three ball. Man, just play. Just play. But that's going to come with growth. I truly feel like I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that because that's leading into my next point really now, the offseason. I feel like we have to re-sign Jaylen Brown. I've had 2 days of sleep on what I saw him do against the Miami Heat in Game 7, and I still feel like we have to re-sign him. We cannot let him leave for nothing. That would be the biggest mistake Boston will ever make. If we let Jaylen Brown walk for nothing and we do not replace him with a player of equal or better talent, our window's done. We might as well let Jason Tatum leave and completely rebuild. And I know we're not going to do that. So we have to bring Jaylen Brown back. Is he a perfect player? No. I'll never say he's a perfect player because honestly, the only player that's perfect, there's no perfect player in the NBA because even somebody as great as Nikola Jokic, he lacks on defense. Someone as great as Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't have the most reliable three-point shot or the most reliable free throw shot. Somebody as tremendously great as LeBron James is old. He's getting older in terms of NBA years. Also didn't shoot that well from three. So it's no perfect player in the league. Jaylen Brown is not perfect. But do I believe we'll be able to find someone that can replace everything he does for us on a night-to-night basis easily? No! You tell me how many guys average 27, 7, and 4, play good defense, are a good three-point shooter, an athlete, and an ambassador for the league like a Jaylen Brown. It's not many guys. I truly feel like Jaylen Brown put his name into that top 20 category of the NBA this year. Was I mad that we were trying to trade Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant? No. That's Kevin Durant. Would I be mad if we traded Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal? Love Bradley Beal as a player. Love Bradley Beal for what he represents, man. A truly, truly smart guy. A great basketball player. I would not want to trade Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal. Jaylen Brown's younger. Jaylen Brown's a better defender. Jaylen Brown is equal on offense. I feel like that'd be taking a step back. Now, if we're talking maybe a Damian Lillard, a Steph Curry, we're not getting Steph Curry, but, a guy can dream, can't he? But if we're getting a Damian Lillard, then I would consider maybe a Jaylen Brown trade this offseason. But in terms of guys that are lesser than him, no, we need to bring him back. I truly feel like they have another level that they can reach. Jaylen Brown's 26. Jason Tatum's 19. My bad. 25. He's 25 now. I believe they have another level that they can reach together. The only thing that I want my Boston Celtics to do this offseason, actually two things. I don't want to lie to you guys. We need to do two things this offseason. Grant Williams is looking for about 14, 15 million this offseason. I feel like he's going to be a casualty, a cap casualty. We're not going to be able to keep everybody. We need to explore a sign and trade for him if possible. That sign and trade needs to net us either a true 5-man so that Al Horford can strictly come off the bench, or that trade needs to net us a quality point guard, a actual point guard, not a Marcus Smart running point guard. Two guys that I found that are reasonable to maybe make a trade for. I have a Tyus Jones from Memphis. I have an Andrew Nembhard from Indiana. Tyus Jones didn't play that well in the playoffs against the Lakers. I mean, I know Ja was injured for a few games, and he had to step in and play. As a starter in the regular season, he played well. As a starter, he was averaging about 16 and 8, shot 40% from 3 in the regular season. Playoffs were another story. He didn't play well. I don't even want to read off his stats for the playoffs. So that's why I'm mentioning him. We maybe can get him at a discount. If we can get him at a discount, I say let's go for it. I've been a fan of us picking up Tyus Jones for about 2 years now, 2 off seasons now. I love Tyus Jones' game. Call me a homer being a Duke fan. He led us to a national championship at Duke. He just plays the point guard position well. He's a solid defender, averages about a steal a game. He's a good off-ball guy, can play off-ball, can run the offense. We need a guy that can run the offense in the half court. Another guy that I mentioned, like I said, Andrew Nembhard out of Indiana. He played at Gonzaga, a good heady guard. His numbers won't jump off the screen at you for the whole season, average about 9.5, 4.5 assists a game. But the thing that I liked about him was when he was given chances after Tyrese Halliburton went down and they didn't play him as much after the All-Star break, his numbers blew up, man. I'm looking at Andrew Nembhard's numbers from after the All-Star break. He was averaging about 14 points and 6 assists a game. And it was stretches during the last few months of the season. He was getting that up to about 16 and 7, shooting close to 40% from 3. That gives us another great to an elite shooter. Either one of those guys that they want to look at. 2 elite shooters and a good playmaker, solid defender. Both of them are about 6'2", 6'3", 190, 200 pounds. Solid defenders. We have defenders around them, so they don't have to be the greatest defender. But I feel like we need to either go for one of those 2 backup point guards that can start in stretches, or we need to get a true 5-man. True 5-man is a little difficult to find. I've seen articles that said Jericho Sims could be a fit for us from the Knicks. He'll be a free agent. He'll be a cheaper option. I wouldn't mind that. I know, shout out to my guy Alex. Man, Alex been kicking the tires on us trading for Miles Turner for the longest. Maybe a Grant Williams and pick 35 for Miles Turner in a sign and trade. I don't know if we'd be able to hold that much salary. I'm just throwing spitballing ideas. But that leads me to my next point. Pick 35. In the draft lottery, we got lucky. We were able to get that second round pick. It's at pick 35. That's an early second round pick where we can possibly get us a first round talented guy that slides down the board. 2 potential draft prospects to look at. James Najee, the 6'10 big man out of Barcelona. He's 19 years old. If we can get him in the Boston system, hopefully we can develop him well. But the only thing about development is with the bigs, it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, we drafted Taco Fall and we're unable to develop Taco Fall too well. But if we can get a guy like that, we were the same team that developed Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I know they had a lot of personal talent. I mean, but a guy like James Najee, if we can get him 35, I say let's pull the trigger on that. Let's try to get him in-house. Let's try to get him developed. We already have some young guys. I know we drafted J.D. Davison last year. He's a good point guard, man. We got to give these guys a chance to play. We still got Peyton Pritchard. He's a scorer. He can pass. He can shoot. We got to give these guys a chance, man. But another guy I wanted to say that we possibly need to look at, another combo guard, man, Amari Bailey, combo guard at UCLA. Depending on the free agent moves and the trades we make, those could be 2 prospects that we look at pick 35 and could come in and really help that core move forward. Those are 2 positions that we need. Amari Bailey showed the ability to be on ball. Averaged about 5 assists after his starting point guard went down to UCLA, 4 to 5 assists. And in college, that's pretty darn good. He's more so of a slasher shooter, though. I wouldn't mind having him come in, be a guy off the bench, be on the G League team. Him and J.D. Davison could be a backcourt of the future, depending on what we decide to do with Marcus Smart. I know everybody wants to trade Marcus Smart. I don't think we should. He's our longest tenured Celtic right now. We got to keep some type of Celtic pride, because the Heat essentially beat us off of culture and pride. If we continuously get rid of every old guy that we have, every guy that's tenured with our team, it's not going to do anything. I know Jason Tatum's getting up there in age. Jaylen Brown's getting up there in age, so they'll be long tenured Celtics as well. But why not keep those three together? They've had success. Let's keep seeing what they can do. Last but not least, before I sign out, man, I know I seen something that said Jason Tatum's been to, I believe, 5 conference championships, and he's only been to 1 finals. That sucks. That's trash. That's very trash. We keep getting to the dance, man. We have to get over the hump. We have to get over the hump, man. I feel like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have another level that they can get to, man. I do. I truly, truly do. I say we need to give it another year. I truly believe one more year can do us some good. We just need a true 5 so Al Horford can move to the bench or play the 4 or play Robert Williams more. Why does he not? Joe Mazzulla's, don't even get me started. Joe Mazzulla's time, the way he ran our rotation sometimes, man, had me scratching my head. But he's a rookie head coach, Darius. He's a rookie head coach. He's a rookie head coach. I got to remind myself he's not a seasoned veteran coach, because when Ime was there, Ime was playing Robert Williams a lot of minutes, and Rob Williams was our X factor. But maybe he didn't believe in him. Hopefully we can try to get a big in-house that Mazzulla believes in, because we signed him to an extension. He's looking like he's going to be our guy. So, again, offseason moves, man. Pick 35. Let's try to get a good value pick there. Whether we trade it with a sign and trade with Grant Williams, we got to bring in a true 5-man that can rebound, defend, doesn't have to space the floor. We have a bunch of spacers. Or we need to bring in a backup point guard. Or we can do both. Hey, doing both would be perfect, man. So that's pretty much all I have for the Celtic video, man. I just wanted to come in here and just about 20, 25 minutes tell y'all how disappointed, sad Celtic fans doing 2 days after getting knocked out by the 8 seed. So it is what it is, man. There's always next year. 2 superstars are young, man. Let's see what the Celtics decide to do. Let's see what Brad decides to do with his contract this offseason. Please don't let him leave for nothing. That's the only thing I ask. Please don't let him leave for nothing. So I'm considering, man, I may bring y'all a 2K rebuild for my Celtics, man, but to be honest, the wound is still fresh. It took everything in me to come in here and talk with y'all. But there might be one down the pipeline coming soon. So again, man, I appreciate y'all. If y'all got to this far in the video, man, I truly appreciate y'all for listening to me. Again, a sad Celtic fan, talk about what I would do if I was in Brad Stevens' position, man. But hey, who am I? So again, man, thank you guys for tuning in to this point in the video. Please, again, give the Dynastyers podcast YouTube channel a sub. Pushing towards 300, man. The motto was 200 today, 2,000 tomorrow. That's still our motto, but we're just going to branch off of that and say 300 today, 3,000 tomorrow, because we're trying to go up, man. So please, sub to the channel. Also, give the Dynastyers podcast a follow on Instagram. Give me a follow on Twitch at Kung Fu Cape TTV. We get into it, man. Give me a follow on my social medias, again, at Darius _ Capers or at Darius Capers, YouTube. Last but not least, man, please, the Capers Cares Foundation, they're doing it big. Please, please, please give them a follow on Instagram, man. We're going up on all of the platforms. So again, man, it's your boy Darius, 2-time Campbell alum, man, signing off. Till next time, peace.